The sun was bleeding out behind the mesas. The desert swallowed light like a dying god, dragging the sky into shadows with slow, bony fingers. A lone truck hummed across the old road, its headlights too weak, its engine too loud in the dead silence. Of New Mexico's high plains, they called it Highway 66 Dot, not the official name anymore, of course. That had been changed years ago, renamed to Route 491 after too many stories, too many disappearances. But for the locals, for those who still remembered what the road did to people, it would always be 666. Tom Reyes didn't believe in that kind of thing. Not really. He was too tired, too rational, too bitter. After 20 years in long-haul trucking, you stopped believing in anything but gas prices and diner coffee. But even he slowed down when he saw the old sign, the one someone had bolted to a leaning fence post, rusted red metal, numbers still scrawled in crooked black paint. 666. His foot hovered over the pedal. The sky had turned purple-black, the kind of color that looked bruised. Wind whipped across the flatlands, dry and sharp like a whisper in a church. Tom checked the clock. 8:04 p.m. He had 6 hours to make it to Monticello with the load of scrap metal sitting behind him. He drove on. The road narrowed. No more painted lines. No more reflectors. The asphalt seemed to rot at the edges, crumbling into sand and bone-dry brush. He hadn't seen another car in over an hour. Maybe 2. His radio hissed. That was nothing new. The desert was dead air. Most nights. But something about the way it hissed, softly and steadily, like an open mouth breathing too close to his ear, made his skin tighten. He reached for the dial, thumb hovering. Then it stopped. A voice replaced the static. Not music, not weather reports. Just a single word, whispered low and cracked. Don't. Tom blinked. What the hell? The voice didn't repeat. Just the wind, like it had never happened. He looked. At the radio again. Turned it off. The truck's headlights caught something ahead. A figure? No, just a road sign, bent almost flat to the ground. A warning of some kind. Tom Squinted. Next gas. 122 miles. He'd filled up in gallop. He'd make it. He always made it. But then the road turned, and there was no turn. He looked in the mirror. Nothing behind him. Desert stretched flat and endless. No lights, no curves. Just the road. Still going straight, but it had turned. He felt it turn. Tom adjusted in his seat. His spine ached. His hands gripped the wheel tighter than necessary. He knew roads. He knew turns. And he knew the feel of his own truck when it tilted, even a little. And it had turned, but the scenery hadn't changed. The same low ridges in the distance. The same crooked cactus leaning like trunks along the shoulder. The same road, dead straight. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Nothing. Just the desert. The kind of desert that made you feel like you weren't real anymore. Like you were a thought someone had halfway through a bad dream. 9:12 p.m. The clock ticked with dull indifference. A warm gust rattled the side mirror. He turned the radio back on. Static. He turned the dial. Nothing but white noise. Not even the usual snippets of Mexican stations bleeding in from across the border. Then again that voice. This time not a word. Just breathing got close. Too close. Like someone was sitting in the passenger seat, face turned toward him in the dark. Tom's chest tightened. He reached for the glove box, blindly, not looking away from the road. He felt around for the old flashlight. Something cold brushed his hand. He pulled back like he'd touched a live wire. Glanced at the seat beside him. Empty. Glove box. Still closed. He hadn't opened it, but his hand had felt something inside it, hadn't it? He laughed, short and sharp. No more truck stop coffee, he muttered. No more 12-hour shifts. I'm seeing shit. He flicked his headlights to high beam. The road ahead glared bright, then shimmered, not a mirage. Not heat. It was night now, cool and dry. Shimmer pulsed once, like a heartbeat, then cleared, and now. The road signs were gone, no speed limit, no exit numbers. No deer crossing. Nothing. Only the faded white stripe in the center, barely visible. And something else barely noticed at first. The road wasn't paved anymore. The asphalt had changed to something older, darker, uneven, more like stone than tar. His tires made a soft crunch, as if rolling over dry leaves or bone fragments. Tom's throat tightened. He reached for the brake. Asterisk. The pedal sank. All the way down. No resistance. No slowing. The truck didn't respond. It just kept going, gently, silently forward. Asterisk. He turned the wheel. Nothing. The wheel spun loose, like it wasn't connected to anything at all. The engine murmured below. But the truck was moving on its own, like it was being pulled. Asterisk. Then he saw her, a girl, standing at the side of the road, long black hair, pale skin, a red dress, torn and drifting in the wind. Tom's hands clutched the useless wheel. He screamed, but not from fear, from recognition. Asterisk. Her name was Emily. She had just turned 19 the summer she disappeared. Tom remembered the heat that year, the cracked roads, the angry skies, and the way her smile had faded the last time she stood in his doorway. Emily wasn't his daughter. Not by blood. She was the kid next door. Grew up beside him, helped him wash his truck when she was 12, begged him for horror stories on his porch, like he was some kind of dusty road god. Then she got older, more quiet. More sad. And then she vanished. Some said she ran off to Phoenix. Some whispered it was her stepfather. But Tom. He always knew something was wrong. He remembered that night. And now, somehow, she was standing on the side of the road. Asterisk. Same eyes. Same scar beneath her collarbone. A sane, distant expression, like she saw the world from 2 feet behind her own face. She didn't wave. She didn't move. Just stared as his truck passed slowly, far too slowly, like the road wanted him to see her, to study every inch of her. He tried to speak, but his throat felt full of dirt. His breath caught sharp, like he was inhaling something ancient. He closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, she was in the middle of the road. He swerved. This time, the wheel responded. Asterisk. Truck jerked to the left, skidded into the shoulder. Dust rising in thick clouds. When it settled, there was no girl. No footprints. No dress. Nothing. Only the sound of wind scraping over stone. And the road had changed again. Asterisk. It was narrower now. 2 lanes had become one. A jagged line ran through the center, like a scar splitting open. Hills pressed closer. The desert had become cliffs. And above him, the sky bled a deep wine red wrong for the hour. 9:57 p.m. But it looked like twilight. Then night again. Then twilight. Time was ... cycling ... asterisk. Asterisk. Tom killed the engine. Stepped out. Silence fell like a heavy blanket. No chirping bugs. No wind. Even the dust seemed to hover in the air like ash. His boots crunched on the strange pavement, stone-like, uneven. He knelt down, touched it, not stone, teeth. Rows and rows of small, chipped, yellowed teeth embedded in the road like gravel. Baby teeth, animal teeth, human molars. He fell back, palm scraping raw. Got to his feet. The truck was gone. No tire marks, just the road stretching both ways into fog. Asterisk. He was alone. No signal on his phone. No hum of headlights in the distance. Only the taste of copper in the back of his throat. Dot, and somewhere dot dot. Far ahead, dot dot, dot dot. Soft, dot childlike, dot coming from under the ground. Asterisk, asterisk, Tom walked, dot, there was nothing else to do, dot, the road behind him had vanished. Not in a dramatic crumbling into the void kind of way, no. It had simply dot, dot, dot receded, as if it had never been there to begin with. Like a memory erased mid-thought. He didn't know how long he'd been walking. His watch had stopped at 10:13 p.m. The seconds hand ticked, but the minute hand hadn't moved. It just quivered gently, as though afraid to go on. Dot asterisk, the sky above him pulsed like a dying lung. Red, violet, black, red, again, dot, then finally a light, dim, yellowed, flickering. Neon sign humming in the haze like a distant wasp. Gas. That was all it said. No brand. No price, dot, just gas, dot asterisk. The building itself looked like it had been left behind by time. A flat-roofed shell with cracked windows and an old metal ice chest out front. The kind no one filled anymore. A tumbleweed rolled lazily past the pump. Tom stepped. Closer. The ground crunched beneath his boots glass and grit. The light over the door buzzed once, then died. He pushed it open. Asterisk, asterisk, the air inside was cold, not cool cold, like walking into a meat locker. And still, the shelves were lined with dust-covered snacks, sun chips, Snickers, ancient bags of beef jerky curled in on themselves, like desiccated tongues. Expired magazines from 1986 fanned out beneath the register. A half-full coffee pot sat on the counter, its contents black and perfectly still. The walls were yellowed from age and smoke. A single ceiling fan turned slowly, clicking with each rotation, like a second hand on a crooked clock. Tom didn't call out. His throat still felt dry and raw, as if he'd screamed hours ago and forgotten dot instead. He stepped toward the counter. Asterisk, the register was open. No money inside. Just dot, 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 a photograph, curled at the edges, black and white. A teenage girl standing in front of a different gas station, older, wooden, holding up a sign. He SQUINTED. Dot, the sign said, Emily, 1986. We're still waiting. His stomach flipped. Same eyes. Same scar. Emily hadn't even been born in 1986. Then the phone rang. A dusty rotary model mounted to the wall near the door. It buzzed once, then again, then fell silent. Tom stared at it, dot, then it rang again. 3 times? He picked up dot. There was no sound. Just that breathing again. Wet, slow, too. Close dot, then a voice. She never left. The line went dead. Asterisk, asterisk, he dropped the phone, turned toward the back of the store. There was a hallway, dimly lit, 2 doors. One marked employees only, the other, restrooms. The employees only door was slightly ajar. Dot, from inside came the sound of paper rustling. Dot, Tom hesitated. But something drew him deeper. As if the road had grown roots inside his mind. He pushed the door open. Asterisk, asterisk, a tiny office. Desk, chair, metal file cabinet. Stale air and mildew. On the desk, a leather-bound journal. He opened it. Inside, notes, names, towns, license plate numbers. Over and over again. Then, on the final page, written in dark, smeared ink, Emily, born in blood, return in dust, follow the teeth. Beneath it, fingerprints. Dot, bloody, dot, not dry. Fresh. The room suddenly felt too quiet, like the world had paused, waiting for something to arrive. And in the mirror above the desk, just for a second, Emily was behind him. Asterisk, asterisk, Tom didn't turn around. He couldn't. The image in the mirror was still, like a photograph soaked in fear. Emily stood behind him, face pale, her eyes too wide, too deep. Her mouth was closed, but he could still hear her voice. Whispers. They came from the corners of the room, from the cracks in the walls, from inside the journal. You left me. You left me there. Tom snapped the book shut and turned no one. The office was empty again, but the air had changed. Asterisk, it felt thicker, heavier, like something was pressing down on the room from above. The fan outside in the shop had stopped spinning. The light flickered once, then blew out. Darkness. He stumbled into the hallway, breathing hard. Reached the front of the gas station. The coffee pot was gone. So was the register. So were the shelves. Now there was only a door, standing in the middle of the floor, freestanding, unattached, a frame with no walls around it. Just the door itself, old wood, rusted handle. And behind it, Tom could see the desert. Same road, same darkness, but not through a window. Through the door. Asterisk, it was standing open. He stepped toward it, boots echoing on bare tile that hadn't been there minutes ago. When he stepped through asterisk, he was back on the road. But now. It curved, a slow, impossible curve that bent around itself in a perfect circle, like a track built by something that didn't understand how roads were supposed to work. And ahead, maybe 30 yards, someone was walking. A figure, male, tall. Tom Squinted. That the man was wearing his jacket. Same boots, same gait. Tom called out, "Hey!" Asterisk. The man didn't turn, just kept walking. Same direction. Tom jogged after him. The dust swallowed the sound of his footsteps. The sky overhead was violet again, deep and low, like it wanted to collapse. The man turned slightly. Tom saw his face. It was him, but older. Gray stubble, sunken cheeks. Same eyes, but hollow. And then the man ran. Tom chased him. Faster now. Each turn of the road revealed the same stretch again. Same cliff face. Same cracked stone. The air began to shimmer. And the figure ahead was getting closer. Not further. Too close. He reached out to grab him. And the young man turned suddenly, grabbed Tom's wrist with bone-white hands, and whispered, "You brought it here. You always did." Tom tried to pull away, but the other version of himself held tight. Then something moved beneath the ground. A vibration. Like something waking up. And from the dust behind the older Tom, teeth began to rise. Asterisk, not scattered teeth now. Not gravel. Mouths. Dozens. Hundreds. Blooming. Like flowers across the desert floor. Some wide open, screaming silently. Others chewing, gnashing, whispering names. His name. Tom. 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 He fell back, breathing hard, vision pulsing in and out like a dying screen. The other Tom vanished. So did the mouths. Only the road remained. And now it was splitting. One path ahead. One path behind. Asterisk, and in the dirt between them, scrawled in that same smeared blood, "You don't get to choose twice." Asterisk. Tom stood at the crossroads. Two paths. Identical. One curved gently uphill. The other descended into a canyon of jagged rock. No signs. No wind. Just silence. And that warning, etched in blood. You don't get to choose twice. He didn't know why, but the words rang with truth. Not metaphorical truth. Not poetic. Law of this place truth. He stepped forward, chose the downward path. The canyon swallowed him quickly, like a throat closing around a whisper. The rocks pressed in. The light changed first. Red, then gold, then pale gray, like the color of old ash. Then the road ended, and a house stood in the canyon floor. Asterisk, a perfect copy of his old house, the one he'd left years ago. The one with the paint peeling near the porch, the broken swing, the wind chime made from beer caps and fishing lures. It should have been impossible. But here it was. The porch creaked as he stepped onto it. Dust covered the doormat. The door wasn't locked. It never had been. Asterisk inside. Everything was exactly as he remembered. Couch cushions sunken in the same spots. The lamp with the cracked base. The wallpaper his wife had hated. A photo frame face down. On the floor, he picked it up. It was a picture of him and Emily, taken the summer before she disappeared. She was smiling. He was squinting into the sun. He didn't remember this picture being taken. And behind them, in the corner of the yard, something stood in shadow. He turned the photo over. Words were scratched into the back. It's still in the basement. Asterisk. He froze. His eyes moved to the hallway. To the basement door. It was closed. No sound from behind it. He stepped forward, slowly. Each board groaned under his weight, like it remembered him, like it was trying to warn him. At the door, he paused. Hand touched the knob. It was warm. Then bang. Something slammed against the other side. Once. Then silence. He opened it. Asterisk stairs. Old wood, eaten at the edges, and at the bottom a soft light, flickering. He took the first step. The air changed. Hot, damp, smelled like mildew, copper, and rot. He descended. Each step creaked, and each one sounded like a scream held under water. When he reached the bottom, the basement was empty. No shelves, no boxes, just dirt floor, unfinished walls, and a mirror. Full length. Standing alone. He approached it. His reflection looked back, but it was wrong. The eyes blinked out of sync. And the mirror showed something else. Behind him, a girl, Emily, but she was younger now, barely 15, dressed in a t-shirt and jeans, feet bare, hair messy. She stared at him through the glass. Then she pressed her palm against it. Mouth moved. You were supposed to come back. Tom reached out, touched the mirror. And the glass turned to water. Pulled him in. The world collapsed. A single note of sound like a violin played under tension. Too slow, too low. Then silence. And when Tom opened his eyes, he was standing in the past. The sun was out. The sky was blue. Birds chirped in the trees. He was in his backyard. June 23rd, 2013. He remembered this day. The day Emily disappeared. She had come over to help clean out his shed. They'd laughed, listened to music. She had spilled lemonade on her jeans. He had gone inside to get towels. And when he came back, she was gone. No signs. No sounds. No explanation. Now he saw her again. Standing by the shed, looking at him. And she looked scared. Tom stepped forward, heart pounding. Emily stood frozen near the shed, her arms limp at her sides, as if caught mid-thought. Her eyes locked on his, but she didn't speak. The wind moved her hair. Nothing else moved. He opened his mouth to call her name, but no sound came out, just air, thin and useless. He tried again. Emily. This time she heard. Her head tilted. Slightly, her expression changed. Not fear now. Confusion. She mouthed something. He couldn't hear her. She pointed to the shed. Tom turned and saw it. A split in the wall. Not a crack. Not a shadow. A tear. Long and jagged. As if something had clawed through the wooden planks from the inside. It shimmered faintly, like heat rising from pavement. He took a step toward it. Emily didn't move. Then a hand reached out from the umbrella. Tear, long, thin, blackened. Grabbed the edge of the wall and pulled. Tom froze. The opening widened. Inside was not the shed. It was a hallway. Dim, narrow, wet, covered in peeling wallpaper, flickering lights. Carpeted floor soaked in dark stains. And at the far end of it, another Emily, but this one was older. Same as she'd looked on the road. Red dress, vacant eyes, bare feet scraping along the floor. She looked up. Saw him and smiled. Tom turned to Emily, the younger one, but she was gone. The grass where she'd stood was burnt black, only the smell of lemon and something else, ozone and rot. He looked back at the tier. The hallway was closer now, moving toward him. Like a conveyor belt, rolling the impossible forward. And then he saw something else, inside himself. But this version was grinning, too wide, teeth too many, eyes black, leaking something thick. Tom stepped back, but the world behind him blurred. Melted. Everything but the door into the hallway remained. He was being funneled. Pushed toward it. And when he turned to run, a voice, deep and cold, echoed from every direction. You watched her go. You let her leave. Now you follow. He ran anyway. Into nothing. Into black. Into the road again. He was lying on the pavement. Hands scraped. Face bleeding. The sky above was red again. The canyon. The shed. The house. All gone. Just the road, stretching forward. But now he heard engines. A distant rumble. He looked up. A convoy of trucks was approaching. Old models. Rusted, some military grade. No logos. No license plates. Each one covered in dust and dried blood. They rolled past him slowly. Inside, behind the filthy windows, people stared out. Eyes hollow. Skin pale. Faces familiar. And in the second truck, sitting by the window, Emily. She didn't blink. Didn't move. She just watched him. As her truck passed, something slipped through the open gap in the back. A girl. The same one from this gas station. It landed in the dust beside him. Tom crawled toward it, opened it. Inside, only one sentence repeated on every page. It's still happening. Then he looked up. The trucks were gone. Vanished. And in the silence that followed, he heard the crunch of footsteps behind him. Tom slowly turned. The footsteps stopped. Behind him, a figure stood in the red haze of the sky. His own face, but hollowed. Eyes black pits, leaking shadows like ink into water. His mouth twisted in a cruel, unnatural smile. The figure raised a hand, and from the shadows spilled thick smoke shapes writhed inside it. Shapes he recognized. Emily's face, screaming silently. His wife's laughter twisted into a growl. His own screams. The shadow Tom spoke without moving his lips. You left her. You chose the road. Now you belong to it. Tom tried to speak, but no sound came. The figure advanced. Each step leaving blackened. Footprints on the cracked asphalt. The red sky darkened. The air thickened, smelling of burning oil and decay. Tom's heart hammered. He wanted to run, but his legs were lead. The figure reached out and touched his chest. A coldness spread, and then the world shifted. He was back inside the house, the one from the basement. The wallpaper peeled. The photo on the floor flipped over. Emily's younger self stood in the hallway, eyes wide. The shadow Tom stood behind her. Whispering. The whispers filled the room. Words of regret, words of fear, words of a road that never ends. Tom's real self collapsed to his knees. Tears burned. He realized what the highway was. A trap, a mirror, a place where the lost stayed lost. Where memories became chains, where the living faced their darkest selves. He looked up. Emily's younger self smiled sadly and said, "The road hides many things. Some never leave, some never return." Asterisk. The basement door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed everything, and Tom heard a voice, his own voice, calling from the road. Asterisk, asterisk. Tom opened his eyes. Darkness. He was lying on the cold asphalt of Highway 666. Sky above him was a swirling mass of gray clouds, low and heavy, pressing down like a weight. He tried to move. His body was stiff. Memories crashed through his mind like waves. Emily. The house. The basement. Mirror. The tear in the shed wall. The shadowy version of himself. The trucks. The journal. Asterisk. The endless road. He sat up slowly. The highway stretched endlessly ahead. No end in sight. No beginning. Just the road. Tom looked down and noticed something. His hands were trembling, but in his palm a small object rested. The journal. The same one from the trucks. He opened it. The pages were filled with entries, scribbled notes, drawings of the highway, strange symbols. One page caught his eye. Asterisk. It read, "The highway feeds on the lost, the forgotten, the broken. Every soul it claims becomes part of its endless path. To leave, you must remember who you are and what you left behind." Tom closed the journal. His mind raced. He understood now. The highway was a living nightmare, a place between worlds, a trap for souls burdened by regret. He stood up. The road stretching endlessly on both sides. In the distance, a faint light flickered. Small gas station. Asterisk. A single beacon in the vast emptiness. Tom started walking toward it. Each step echoed like a drumbeat in the silence. As he walked, the air grew colder. The wind whispered voices, voices of the lost, whispers of warning. A chill ran down his spine, but he pressed on, because somewhere beyond the darkness, a chance to find Emily and himself still waited. Asterisk, asterisk. The gas station appeared slowly through the fog, skeletal frame of rusted metal and broken glass. The neon sign flickered weakly, half dead, half alive. Tom's footsteps slowed. The silence around him was thick, almost suffocating. He pushed open the creaking door. Inside was dim and dusty. Shelves stood empty. An old cash register sat frozen in time. The smell of stale coffee and old cigarettes hung heavy. Behind the counter sat a man. He looked ordinary at first glance, but his eyes were too sharp. Too knowing. The man smiled a thin, almost sad smile. "Been a long time since anyone walked this way," he said. Tom swallowed. "Do you know the highway?" he asked. The man nodded slowly. "Everyone knows it, but no one leaves it unchanged." He stood and walked around the counter. Lost souls come here hoping for answers. Some get them, others don't. Tom felt the weight of those words. "Can you help me find her?" he whispered. The man's eyes darkened. "Maybe." He pulled out a small, battered box. Inside, an old photograph of Emily, the younger Emily, smiling softly. "How do you know?" Tom's voice cracked. The man shrugged. "I see what the highway hides, but everything comes with a price." Tom glanced at the photo again. "Anything," he said. The man smiled wider. "Good. Then listen carefully." He leaned in close. "The highway isn't just a road. It's a crossroads. Between life and death. Between regret and forgiveness. To find your way, you must face what you've buried deep inside. Your memories, your pain, your guilt. Only then will the path open." Tom's heart pounded. "Where do I start?" The man's smile faded. "At the well." Outside, Tom heard the wind howl. The neon sign flickered again. The man handed Tom a rusty key. "Don't lose this. It's your only way back." Tom took the key. Nodded. He stepped outside. The fog thickened, and the highway waited. Asterisk, asterisk. The key was cold in Tom's hand as he walked away from the gas station. The fog curled around his. Legs like smoke. The highway stretched endlessly on either side. But Tom knew where to go. The well. The old well, hidden just off the road. A place he'd once passed, but never noticed. Now. It called to him. He found it nestled beneath twisted branches of dead trees. A circular stone wall, cracked and moss-covered. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of earth and something else something, metallic and sharp. Tom crouched by the edge. The darkness inside seemed to breathe. He shone his flashlight. Downward. Only blackness stared. Back. Suddenly, a whisper rose from the depths. Soft, sibilant. Remember. Tom swallowed hard. Memories flashed. Emily, laughing in the kitchen, their last fight. His cold silence, the moment she left. The guilt, the regret, the fear of losing her. The well seemed to pulse with the memories. The whispers grew louder. Face it. Face it. Tom took a deep breath. He reached into his pocket. The rusty key. It fit perfectly into a hidden latch on the side of the well. With a click, a metal trapdoor swung open. A cold draft rose from below. Tom hesitated, then climbed. Down. The darkness swallowed him. Asterisk, asterisk. Inside, the air was damp and cold. The walls, covered with faded photographs. Images of Emily, of Tom, of places they had been. Some smiling, some frozen in pain. The whispers were louder now. He stepped forward. One photo caught his eye. It was of Emily, standing alone on Highway 66. Behind her, a shadow. Tom's own shadow. Suddenly, the floor shifted. He stumbled. The walls closed in, and the voice whispered again. You cannot run from yourself. Asterisk, asterisk. Tom's feet touched the damp, cold stone floor below the well. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of mildew and something faintly metallic, like blood, but old, aged, forgotten. He paused, breathing slowly, trying to steady his nerves. Around him, the walls were lined with photographs. Dozens, maybe hundreds, pinned or taped to the stone, some curling at the edges, others faded nearly to invisibility. Tom stepped closer, his flashlight sweeping across faces frozen in time. He saw Emily, younger, happier, caught mid-laugh. Then himself, but with eyes that seemed hollow. Some images showed places, empty roads, barren fields, and shadows cast by unseen figures. Tom's throat tightened. He wanted to look away, but the pull was irresistible. Asterisk. The whispers rose again, threading through the silence like venom. Remember, face the truth. What you bury will consume you. Tom swallowed hard and moved deeper. At the far end of the chamber, a cracked mirror leaned against the wall. It was old, the glass mottled and cloudy, but unmistakably a mirror. Tom approached it cautiously. His reflection flickered, then shifted. The face staring back was not quite his own. It was older, worn down by sorrow. The eyes were sunken, black-rimmed, haunted, the mouth twisted into a bitter smile. Suddenly, the reflection moved independently. Raised a hand and beckoned. Asterisk. Tom's heart hammered. He took a step back. The mirror whispered, soft but urgent. Look. Really look. What have you done? Memories flooded in. The last night with Emily. The harsh words. The slammed door. Her tears. His silence. The road trip. The accident. The promises. Broken. Asterisk. The guilt that had gnawed at him every day since. Tom dropped to his knees. The mirror's image changed again. It showed the house, the basement, the blood-stained wall. Emily's face, pale and ghostly, pressed against the glass. Tom reached out, but the glass was ice cold. The whispers turned to voices. Forgive yourself, or be lost forever. Tears streamed down Tom's face. He closed his eyes. and in the darkness behind his eyelids, he saw a light, a soft, warm glow. A memory of Emily's smile. Asterisk her hand in his dot, the promise of a second chance. When he opened his eyes, the mirror was just a mirror again. Dot no reflection, dot no whisper, only silence. Tom rose slowly. The weight on his chest had lifted slightly. He held the rusty key tight. The road back was still long, but maybe, just maybe, there was hope. Asterisk outside. The first hint of dawn touched the horizon. The fog began to lift. The highway waited, endless but no longer empty. Tom stepped out of the well, ready to face whatever came next. Asterisk. Tom stood just outside the well, the cold morning air wrapping around him like a thin shroud. The fog that had cloaked Highway 666 was beginning to dissolve, leaving behind an eerie stillness. The pale light revealed the barren landscape. Twisted trees, cracked asphalt, and the endless stretch of the cursed highway. He glanced at the rusty key in his hand, its cold weight grounding him in reality. The key was not just metal. It was a symbol of hope, of redemption, and a way out of this nightmare. Tom knew better than to trust anything on this highway. The highway seemed to pulse beneath his feet, as if alive, a beast that fed on fear and regret. His mind raced back to the gas station, and the man behind the counter, the stranger who spoke in riddles, his eyes heavy with secrets. At the well, the man had said, "Face your past or be trapped forever." Tom took a deep breath and began walking again. Every step felt heavier than the last, as if the road itself was trying to pull him under. The memories of Emily clung to him, whispering, twisting, turning inside his mind like dark shadows. He had to find a way to break free. Ahead, the road forked, one path veering into thick woods, the other disappearing into a barren desert plain. Asterisk. Tom paused. The journal in his pocket seemed to hum faintly. He pulled it out and flipped to the page with the cryptic symbols. A phrase stood out. "The choice is yours. Walk into shadow or step into the light. But beware, not all light saves." His fingers trembled as he folded the journal away. The desert path was bathed in weak sunlight, but the heat was oppressive, and the air shimmered unnaturally. The wooded path was darker, filled with twisted trees whose branches seemed to reach for him. Tom's heart pounded. He closed his eyes, trying to hear the whispers beneath the wind. A voice, faint and clear, echoed in his mind. "Follow the woods. Find the house." With renewed resolve, Tom turned toward the trees. The forest swallowed him quickly. The air grew colder. The silence was complete, except for the crunch of his footsteps on dry leaves. Shadows shifted between the trunks. Or was it just his imagination? The journal pulsed again in his pocket, guiding him. After what felt like hours, Tom saw it. A house. Old, decaying, broken, windows shattered, the porch sagging, paint peeling like dead skin. But it was the house he had been running from all. Along. His breath caught in his throat. The door creaked open slowly. As if inviting him in, Tom stepped inside. Darkness swallowed him whole. Asterisk. The air inside the house was thick with dust and decay. The floorboards groaned beneath Tom's weight, each step echoing in the emptiness. Shadows clung to the corners, hiding secrets he didn't want to face, but had no choice but to confront. He reached out, running his fingers along the cracked wallpaper, faded floral patterns peeling away like old scars. A cold draft brushed past him, carrying the faintest scent of lavender, Emily's favorite. Tom's heart twisted. From the far end of the hallway came a faint sound, a soft tapping, like fingernails drumming on wood. He followed the noise, each step heavier with dread. The hallway stretched endlessly, twisting impossibly as if the house itself was alive, reshaping itself around him. At the end stood a door. a door unlike the others. Blackened wood, carved with strange symbols that pulsed faintly with an otherworldly glow. Tom hesitated. The whispers were louder now, swirling in his mind like a tempest. Open it. Face what you fear. With trembling hands, he grasped the cold handle and pulled. The door swung open to reveal a room bathed in darkness. But within the shadows, a single candle flickered, casting a dim light on a small wooden table. On the table lay a diary, worn, leather-bound. Its pages yellowed with age. Tom approached and opened it. The handwriting was his own, shaky, desperate. Entries detailed the slow unraveling of his life after Emily left. Nights of loneliness, regret, and self-loathing. But one entry stood out. The highway calls to me. It knows my sins. If I don't confront them, it will take everything. Suddenly, a cold hand gripped Tom's shoulder. He spun around, but no one was there. The candle flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. From the void, Emily's voice whispered, "Tom, forgive me, forgive yourself." Tears welled up. The walls seemed to close in, the house groaning with ancient pain. Tom sank to his knees, clutching the diary. He knew this was the moment, the crossroads where he could finally break free, or be consumed by the highway forever. His fingers traced the final words. He had written, "Redemption lies in facing the truth." Tom's breath came in shallow gasps. The diary pressed against his chest, a fragile anchor amid the swirling darkness. The room seemed to pulse, shadows stretching like fingers reaching for him. Yet, beneath the fear, a strange calm began to settle. He whispered, "Emily, I'm sorry." The air shifted. The oppressive weight lifted slightly, as if a part of the house was listening, waiting. Suddenly, the floor beneath him trembled. Cracks spider-webbed across the wooden planks, revealing a glowing fissure beneath, molten red and black like the highway itself. From the depths, a low growl echoed, deep and resonant, as if the road was awakening. Tom's eyes widened. This was no ordinary road. It was alive, a living nightmare feeding on souls who dared to tread it. He thought back to the stories, disappearances, madness, strange lights seen by travelers at night. This highway was a gate, a prison, a beast. And it knew him. The whispers swelled, no longer soft, but roaring inside his mind. You belong here. Your sins are chains. Break them or be bound forever. Tom clenched his fists. He would not be a prisoner. He stood, staring into the glowing fissure. A choice lay before him. Plunge into the abyss and face his darkest fears, or turn away and remain lost. With trembling resolve, Tom stepped forward. The heat was unbearable, but he forced himself onward, descending into the fiery maw. Inside, visions assaulted him, memories twisted by guilt, shadows of faces he had wronged, screams echoing in the void. But amidst the chaos, a small light shone. Emily's face, calm and forgiving. He reached out, and for the first time, felt hope. The abyss began to close behind him, but Tom pressed forward. Light enveloped him. He was free. Tom emerged from the depths of the abyss, gasping for air as though he had been underwater for an eternity. The world around him was no longer the same. The thick fog that had once shrouded Highway 666 was gone, replaced by a clear, cold morning sky that stretched endlessly overhead. The highway lay before him, cracked and worn, but strangely peaceful. The oppressive weight that had haunted him for so long had lifted, replaced by a strange clarity. His heart still pounded, but with a new rhythm, one that spoke of hope rather than despair. He took a cautious step forward, feeling the rough asphalt beneath his feet. Every mile he traveled felt like shedding layers of fear and guilt. The key in his pocket seemed to hum softly, a reminder of the journey he had survived. Yet, as he walked, Tom could not forget the house, the well, the abyss, the shadows that lurked just beyond the edges of reality. They were part of him now, etched into his soul like scars that refused to fade. He paused at a broken sign that read, "Welcome to Highway 666, where your past is never far behind." A chill ran down his spine. Asterisk though free, Tom knew the road still held secrets, mysteries that few dared to uncover. The highway was not just a place. It was a test, a mirror reflecting the darkest parts of one's soul. As he continued, the wind whispered through the barren trees, carrying faint echoes of voices, some warning, some forgiving. For Tom, the journey was far from over. The horrors he faced had changed him, but they had also given him a chance to rebuild, to seek redemption beyond the cursed highway. He looked to the horizon, the sun rising steadily, promising a new day. And with every step forward, Tom embraced the uncertain path ahead. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Tom stood at the edge of the highway, the cold wind tugging at his jacket. Behind him, the house, that dreadful decaying monument to his past, had vanished, as if swallowed by the night itself. The sun was fully risen now, its light burning. Away the last remnants of fog that clung to the cracked asphalt of Highway 66. He exhaled deeply, feeling the weight of years of fear, guilt, and regret slowly lift from his shoulders. The road that had haunted so many travelers, the highway whispered its secrets no more. But Tom knew that the darkness never truly leaves. It hides beneath the surface, waiting, watching, ready to consume those who forget its lessons. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the rusty key, now warm to the touch. It was no longer just a key to a well or a house, but a symbol, a reminder that the road to redemption is long, and sometimes terrifying. He looked down the highway, empty, silent but no longer menacing. Tom smiled faintly. He had faced the horrors hidden beneath Highway 666 and emerged not broken, but stronger. Asterisk. As he walked away, the wind carried a faint whisper. Some roads end, but the journey never truly ends. And with that, Tom disappeared into the morning. Light, free at last, yet forever, marked by the secrets of the highway. Asterisk, 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 asterisk.